Hi guys, it's Simran. I wanted to check in again. It's been about a couple of weeks, maybe less. I'm not really very good with time nowadays. I have been in my void, as I have been explaining to you guys the last time we connected. And I wanted to share with you some of the downloads I've been getting, a bit of my process. As you know, I've had it's been very difficult for me to come online and share more than I have been because, as I shared, I'm getting very overwhelmed with the amount of activity that there is in the online space, and that's just my own process, not anyone else's. We all process things in different ways, and I've also been upgrading myself in order to be of more service to my clients, to my community, and it's also part of my own intrinsic nature to always research more. And so I've been delving into aspects of astrology that I've tried out with a few of my clients, which has actually worked really well with the kind of work that I'm doing, which is always firstly guided by my intuition. But I've been really delving into certain power places of our natal charts, especially a lot to do with astrogeography, which I found fascinating for myself. So that just means there's certain places in the world that are maybe more conducive to things that you're trying to bring in, and other places that we might find more challenging. And given the aspects of the planets of when we were born and the most powerful influences at that time, those influences we carry throughout our life. So we have things known as south nodes and north nodes, whereas the south node is somewhere that we're really comfortable with ourselves. We came in with a lot of these gifts from past lives, if you believe in them, or it's also an aspect of a lot of our childhood woundings. And the North Node is really our soul purpose, where we're meant to go in this lifetime. So that's something more that I will be sharing with you. And stay tuned, because I do have an offer coming out for the first 10 clients, which will obviously be at a much discounted rate because it's an introductory offer. So I'm combining my North nodes with astrogeography for my clients. Usually this will only be available for my private clients. My session clients are not just single sessions, but I'm offering this out as a trial run to the community for the first 10 people, and the offer is valid till the end of April. So stay tuned for that. And I also wanted to share a little bit about the information that I'm receiving, let's say, in this void that I have been in. It's been a big time of introspection, and I had my challenges in March of moving around a lot, very much triggered my own core woundings, which is basically a lack of stability and security, and all of that was triggered in March. And so I'm finding myself in a space at the moment which actually I find very, very restorative. So it's actually very easy for me to be in isolation. It's very easy for me to retract into hermit mode. And for others, they might find this challenging, but for me, this period has been quite restorative, and it's been a time of really checking in to see how I want to move forward. The way that I will do my business and be of more service to my clients and my community is also changing a little bit. It's much, much more using my own blueprint, which is something I've taken some clients through as well. It's tapping into your divine blueprint and using that as a way to manifest your soul's desires and to be of service in this world, because that's what we're all here for in the end, to impact other people and for our soul growth. And so as I have been in that process myself, let's say in the last month, I also just had my solar return. A lot has been coming up, and this is the reasons that I'm now sharing, because apparently one of the things that one of my blueprints has been telling me to do is share more. And it's been very difficult for me. It's been a process for me the last 3 years where I've been showing up more, trying to be more visible, whereas my essential nature is to go within. So I'm really working on, let's say, my North Node, which is in Libra, which is all about partnerships and community and sharing, and very much into the communal North Node of Gemini, which is, again, speaking your word, sharing. I'm feeling all of this happening for myself. And if you're not into astrology, it really doesn't matter. Because if you're interested in, I speak about these things in very, very layman's terms, because I'm only using certain aspects of astrology that I resonate with. And because I have a gypsy soul, I really love astrogeography and also love the concept of leading towards your North Node, which is about your divine soul blueprint in this life. So I'm really incorporating that into my work, which feels really, really resonant and special for me. And I also wanted to share a little bit about where I see we're going in the time that is coming. So again, please bear in mind, I do have a crystal ball, but I am not asking you to take any of what I'm saying as investment advice, as something that you should do. It's based on downloads, intuitive insights, pings, conversations with my guides from what I perceive around the world around me. So please don't say that this is something that I told you to do and then take it as investment advice. However, some things have come into me as investment advice, and I'm going to share that with you because I had my previous life as a banker. Again, please proceed with caution. These are just my own musings. So I'm sure a lot of you who are intuitive or in any way inclined to be more aware of what's happening in the world, I do feel that we're going to have a lot of dissolving of old structures and old paradigms. I do think that a lot of government structures are going to change. A lot of business corporate structures are going to change. I do feel the stock market is going to change. Everything that has been built on paradigms of control, hierarchy, domination, secrecy, I feel they're all dissolving. That doesn't mean we're going to go into a state of anarchy, although for certain parts of the world that could happen. I also feel that professions, people who have maybe been overlooked in the very image conscious, materialistic world that we have all been living in, there is going to be a rebalancing of that. We're already seeing that with people who are on the front lines, the doctors, the nurses, the sweepers, the cleaners, the logistics people, our delivery people, the people who make us food, the people who are really there in the background, who are supporting us. I feel there is going to be a rebalancing on where we as a humanity and as a society put value. And this is not to say that you can't make money. I'm a capitalist, I believe in making money. However, I do believe that the old system of capitalism and the paradigm that we have been living in for thousands of years is no longer working. This is really the time of the divine feminine rising, but also a healing of the masculine. And as I've said many times, we have both aspects within ourselves. And there's a lot of stuff happening in terms of timelines, in terms of the cosmos, where we as humanity need to change our consciousness. And this is not to blame anyone, because all of us who are alive right now have a role to play, because we've all chosen to be here right now, which means we all have responsibility for the outcome of how things turn out. And so I believe the stock market is obviously going to change. All these companies that people have thought are triple A's, super safe, I would say the ratings and all these companies that we have thought have been the bellwethers that are safe, I would look out for that. I do believe in a return to, how do I say this? I'm not even going to say the gold standard, but I do feel a return to something more tangible, of tangible security and value. Gold is one of them, and basically not ETFs or funds, physical gold. Obviously don't go out buy billions of golds and put all of your savings in that, but I definitely think there's a part in your portfolio to be in tangible assets, and by tangible I mean like gold. I also think that green technology is going to have a big place. I also believe preventative medicine, functional medicine, holistic living is going to have more importance, whereas, let's say insurance companies have really shunned this particular aspect of wellness, of preventative medicine. I do believe that's going to be changing. I'm not going to speak too much about vaccinations, because I think everyone already knows my opinions about that. I've shared enough about it. All I would say is do your own research and feel free to decide what you should put in your own body. And I do believe that education, the way that we relate to people, a complete rebalancing of like a rebalancing, but also a harmonizing of people who have been on the fringe of society. There has to be a reconnection to that, and I believe that's happening now. I also think there's going to be a lot of debt that is going to have to be forgiven worldwide, just because there's going to be no way to pay it back. Old structures of interest payments, debt, things like that, I think the paradigm is going to change about that. I do believe in sustainable investing and real estate. So I do think that there's going to be a place for that type of growth. Also sustainable housing for everyone. So I also think countries, whereas before it's been all about, and we're currently in an area of isolationism and protectionism. However, I do not believe that that's how it's going to be going forward. It just doesn't seem resonant with me, like separation, borders. I'm not talking about world government, for example. I'm talking about the way we relate to each other, freedom of movement, freedom to work in places that resonate with us, freedom to share our gifts and abilities in places that they're required, without huge amounts of bureaucracy that are building walls. I know this sounds super idealistic, and people are going to say, well, how are you going to implement that? And I believe it comes from a desire to change things. And everywhere that people have been thinking of waiting to return to normal, I really, really hope with all of my heart that things don't return to normal, because that's precisely the reason that we're here. Water, I think, is going to be really important going forward. Water as a commodity. The land, the environment, huge areas of investment and focus, and really redefining what it is to be human and living in community. So guys, thank you for hearing me ramble. I'm excited to come back and share a little bit more as I feel guided, but stay tuned for the new offerings.